Cosmic laws, righteousness. A question that probably goes through our minds at least once a day is, what should I do? What is the right choice for me to make? Within the cosmos there is a divine law which confirms there is a right choice and a wrong choice. It is the law of righteousness. Righteousness is the quality or condition of being righteous or just. To be righteous is to act in a virtuous, morally right, or justifiable manner, to be good and authentic. Vicissitude is the best synonym for righteousness. It means correctness of method or judgment, strict honesty, straightness, uprightness of character. This is how the law of righteousness manifests in our lives. For some, this law is so important that it was a matter of life and death. Living in an amoral and political chaotic Chinese society in the 4th century BC, the great Confucian philosopher Mencius wrote, "I like life and I also like righteousness. If I cannot have both of them, I shall give up life and choose righteousness. I love life, but there is something I love more than life, and therefore I will not do anything improper to have it." Mencius clearly believed in the principle of righteousness, one salient feature of which is that positive ends can neither completely nor permanently justify means that employ unjust practices. For others, however, a universal law of righteousness cannot possibly exist. The ancient philosophical school known as the Greek skeptics denied the possibility of a general standard of conduct that could apply to all people and cultures. They supported their position by pointing to the wide range of human, social, ethical, and political behaviors in Mediterranean cultures. In the West, this gave rise to the idea of relativism. Relativism contends that the differing views are not to be judged right or wrong, nor good or bad, by an absolute set of standards, but must be viewed within their proper context. Simply put, relativism states that what is good for one might not be good for another. No one can deny that. We all know that what may be right or safe for an adult is not necessarily so for a child. What is good for a woman is not always good for a man, and what is good for plants is not always good for animals or people. If divine, ethical, and moral values are relative, how could Confucius, the molder of Chinese civilization, say, "A superior man in dealing with the world is not for anything or against anything"? He follows righteousness as the standard. How could Sananda Jesus communicate through me on June 7, 1967? "I am not with you, nor am I against you. I am only with the law of righteousness, the Lord God, which dwelleth in each man, each nation, and the world." How? Because there are divine laws which regulate life force throughout Spirit's creation, and righteousness is one of them. Truly, they are absolute. As for relativism, its foundation rests on the truth that eternal, spiritual principles can be applied in an infinite number of ways. Just 3 of 23 cosmic laws, free will, individuality, and growth and evolution, create tremendous variation in lifestyles and social fabrics. Think what latitude in living the infinite combination of all 23 laws brings. In August 18, 1970, the prince of this planet, Sananda Jesus, communicated the answer to the question of the origin of good and evil. It is on this basic question of good and evil that all progress and regression have been fought, have been struggled with, and have been won. There lives not a single soul who has not questioned the rightful answer to this in his soul evolution and in the battleground of life eternal. So let us now grasp a few concepts and make them steadfast in our eternal determination to give righteous and loving proof of the fundamental laws within this universe from which we are created, and out of which we have our sustenance and existence. Let us begin first with the scriptural reference of the creation of all that may exist. In the beginning was the divine creator. Before this, there was always a divine creator or principle itself. So there never was a time, never can be a time, when this is not the fundamental reasoning and thought power. Out of this thought power and mind, which is God, all has been created, and has been sustained, and has been put into motion for good and evil. But all things were created before the evil even was mentioned. That is the sum and total of the entire question. It has not been the God principle or life substance which created evil, but man, who contemplated the creation, who thought in terms of error or of evil. Let us not deceive ourselves that such conditions are only a matter of mental projection, for man is the Son of God. Under this regulation, his mind power is very capable of creating a substance and matter out of his mind powers. So, by creating ideas and having thoughts independent of the role, the mission, the plan, or the scheme of proper evolutionary progress and growth, He has created certain levels of being, certain creatures of being, and certain deeds of being that are considered evil or erroneous to his proper growth and progress. There is right and there is wrong. On an individual basis, there always is a good decision, a better action, a best choice, because simultaneously there is a poor choice, a bad course of action, a worse option. Almost always we will have a range of options from which to choose. But let there be no mistake. When we find ourselves in the middle of a confrontation, challenge, or crossroads, there will always be an ascending scale of options on the side of right, fair, good, better, best. There will also be a descending scale of errant possibilities, the extreme of which is the worst case, evil. This is why it is so important to know cosmic laws. We can apply them universally to every circumstance, thus helping ourselves to make the right choice. Described by the noted translator and scholar T.W. Rhys Davids as a turning point in the religious history of man, Gautama Buddha's first teaching after achieving enlightenment was a detailed account of how to live the law of righteousness, known as the Discourse on the Foundation of the Kingdom of Righteousness. In it, Sananda Gautama Buddha describes a noble truth about life, that although there is suffering in the world, there also is an eightfold path each person can travel that can put an end to all suffering, pain, misery, emptiness, imperfection, and sorrow. The middle way is a single path, but it has these 8 integrated disciplines: right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Right understanding means having the right views about reality, having the right comprehension of cosmic laws and how they operate. Proper understanding counteracts beliefs that lead to suffering. Examples of such beliefs include superstitions and delusions of various kinds, such as the idea that life is totally random and without purpose or meaning, or the belief that life is completely predetermined, so that our fate is sealed by the hands of other people, other gods, or God. We express right thought as thoughts of love, compassion, mercy, and nonviolence toward all living beings. Right thinking frees us from greed, hatred, selfishness, and ignorance. Right speech means not to lie, mislead, slander, gossip, or talk in any other impolite way. Rather, speak only truth in friendly and gentle ways. Say only what is useful and meaningful at the right time and in the right ways, otherwise be silent. Right action involves abstaining from killing, stealing, dishonesty, illicit sexual contacts, and so on. In right conduct, we strive to love all beings, to be moral and peaceful, to have proper marital relations, and to help those in need. Right livelihood involves maintaining our health and acquiring our food, clothing, shelter, and our living without harming others. We need to be able to acquire these things without preventing others from doing the same. For example, avoid professions where weapons are produced. According to the Buddhist monk and scholar Walpola Rahula, in his book What the Buddha Taught, the moral conduct generated by right speech, right action, right livelihood is requisite for all higher spiritual attainments. In fact, no spiritual development is possible without establishing morality in our daily lives. Another key to the ending of suffering is right effort. Right effort involves our use of the divine law of free will. In right effort, we prevent evil from arising within us in society. We abandon evil already present. We promote good and protect the increase that good is already present. Right effort is right use of will. It is patience, strength, and courage in the face of error. For our effort to be right, we must have right mindfulness or attentiveness. Right mindfulness means being fully aware of and responsive to the actions and reactions of our physical, emotional, soul, and mental body. Attentiveness to the continual changes in life helps us not to attach ourselves to worldly things to the point of disillusionment and suffering. Right mindfulness includes mental alertness, vigilance, and a sense of responsibility. Finally, we must have a right concentration, which often is related to meditation. Right concentration does include different stages of achievement of yoga meditation, but it also means being able to focus our full attention on what we are doing so we can do it right. Properly focusing our thoughts so that we are single-minded prevents us from being distracted and having scattered thoughts. With right concentration, we will be better able to perform our tasks perfectly and to fulfill our role and mission in life. Roughly 2,800 years ago at Mount Carmel in the Kingdom of Israel, Sananda, in his incarnation as the prophet Elijah, asked a huge gathering of people and priests, referred to as all Israel in the Bible, to choose which principles were right and true. They could choose the laws of God given to the prophets of Israel and handed down from generation to generation, or they could choose a new form of pagan worship that was gaining favor in their region, Baalism. The Bible records the response of the multitude. The people answered him not a word. They just didn't know. Well, that's history. The burden now is on us. Do we know? The psalmist of the Old Testament who knew the answer gave this account of what the true laws of the universe meant to him or her. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The reverence of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgment of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. They are more to be coveted than gold. End of lesson.